ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובמלאכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזרות ביתך ובשעריך. We invite you to continue silently now with the words of the Shema, Hebrew or English. Traditional words go all the way through page 24, or just take this time for your own silent meditation or contemplation.
Adonai Elohim Emet.
On page 27, Redeeming the Sparks. The Kabbalists tell us that God, in creating the world, took some of its fresh new light and poured it into each of the vessels of the spheres of the universe. But such powerful light was stronger than the vessels, so they weakened and cracked, while the precious light spilled out, falling down and down through all the worlds until they reached into the lowest world, our own. As the sparks of light fell down, they took on forms and embedded themselves in physical things, wood and water, plants, paper, and living creatures. Always since that time, the sparks yearned to return to the source of all light, the single holy light from which they fell. And please join me reading this next paragraph together. And so, when we do a mitzvah with food or plants or paper or another human being, when we thank the Creator for having formed this beautiful and strong and fragrant thing, we awaken the spark of light within, and suddenly its fire starts to grow, and it rises, flaming higher and higher and higher, soon to be reunited with its source. And that redemptive power is the mitzvah power and the essential message of Mi Chamocha, page 29.
Mi chamocha reivim Adonai, mi chamocha nekar b'kodesh, norah tehilot osefem. Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, bokayam lefnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'ili anu ve'amru, Adonai imach le'olam, amen. V'ne'emar kifat Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch hu u'baruch shemo, Ga'al Yisrael.
This night prayer, this bedtime prayer, Hashkivenu, it's our prayer each night for peace and protection. But how many people in our world sleep or don't sleep in fear and anxiety? Who comes into your mind now when I say that? Who do you think of when we say this prayer? Bring to mind the people, the creatures, the places that need God's protection and need our care and concern and action. And I invite you just to turn to someone near you and tell them the first thing that came into your mind when I asked that question. Who are you thinking of? Please keep them in your heart as we sing together with the Hashkivenu. I think this is on our song sheet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please join with us. This is a very special mashup, I like to call it. There are many parts to it, and they all work together beautifully. So if you find a part that you like to sing, you can just keep singing it. But we're going to go through
On
all
page
the parts and then just pick a part and enjoy it. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom B'hamidenu Malkeinu. One more time. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom B'hamidenu Malkeinu. When I lay down at night, when I rest my head, oh God, watch over me. And when the morning comes, we thank the Holy One and pray for peace. Please join with us. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Please choose any part. Ashkivenu one day, L'Shalom B'hamidenu Malkeinu. One day, one day, one day. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars. Our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom B'hamidenu Malkeinu. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say, one day, 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 one day.
Amen. That's going to be in my heart for a long time. So special. Our world needs that kind of prayer. And in fact, as you look through your Siddur, think that there may be a message there just for you. Be open to it, something it might speak to you, because every year we find new interpretations. And this next prayer, Tikuba Chodesh, page 33, which is sounding the shofar at the new moon. So if you went out and it's clear, you'd see the sliver of the moon of Tishrei at the dark time of the moon, but Keseh Liyom Chagenu, to remind us that even in dark times, some of which we've experienced this last year, the light that has been hidden will return and grow.
Tikuva Chodesh Shofar B'Keseh Liyom Chagenu Ki Chok L'Yisrael Hu Mishpat L'Elohei Yaakov.
see Kaddish. 34.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Amen. B'alma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich balchutei, v'chayeichon v'yumeichon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agalav v'zman karev, v'beru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach, v'ya'olam l'olam me'olamaya yiparach. Yitparach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam, v'yitmasei. Please join with me. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitaleh, Shemei Gurusha, Richu, Le'elah, Le'elah, Min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran, v'olma, v'imru, amen.
From song, we enter into silence as we prepare to enter the silent Amidah, which is your private time to commune with God, with your soul, or with your thoughts. You'll find the traditional holiday prayers in your machzor, in your prayer book, page 37 to 58, both Hebrew and English. You might want to say them all. You might want to see which one speaks to you today. Or just, if you prefer to spend this time in self-reflection, you can find some questions to ponder on page 483, or just take this time for your own silent prayers and meditations of your heart. I invite you to rise as you're able, or whatever posture is comfortable for this Amidah prayer. prayer for peace, and a prayer for blessing, abundance, and being written in the Book of Life, page 55.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. V'tov be'enecha yevarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Besefer Chaim bracha v'shalom u'parnasa tova nizacher v'nikatev lefanecha. Anachnu v'chol amecha beit Yisrael lechaim tovim u'leshalom. Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. Amen.
May we and all our people and all of God's creation be inscribed in the Book of Life for blessing, abundance, goodness, and peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Cantor.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you to Avram and everybody. And sharing some thoughts with you this evening. Got it? Okay. Shana Tova. You know those lists that they have, like the 50 most beautiful people? Remember that one? The 100 richest people, the 50 most influential people, the ones to watch for, the 30 under 30, and the one that rabbis love to hate, America's 50 top most influential rabbis. I was once nominated for the list of America's most obscure rabbis. But this Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, I'd like to share a countercultural top of the charts enumeration. One that's not about adulating the beautiful or the powerful. On the contrary, this Jewish tradition insists that kindness and compassion are the most important forces on earth. And this is my theme for this high holiday season, the centuries-old Jewish legend of 36 amazing people in the world who don't seek publicity, who aren't notable for their looks, wealth, or influence. They are humble and little known, but especially extraordinarily caring and good. Are we okay? You're waiting. Problem with the microphone? Okay.
Do you mind?
Wait, is my microphone on? It's in my pocket. Okay, I guess it's amazing how much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Okay. Should I start over? Okay. Could you hear me? There's all these charts and lists of all the famous and beautiful, okay. But the ones that really count are those that you never hear about. And this legend begins in the Talmud, and it's developed in Jewish mysticism and folklore, and it's called the Lamed Vavniks. How many people had heard of the Lamed Vavniks? Okay, at least 36 of you have. There are supposed to be 36 righteous individuals whose goodness and whose deeds sustain the world. But of course, rabbis being what they are, the rabbis of the Talmud argue about this, and they say maybe there's 45, maybe there's 30 in Israel and 15 in the diaspora, maybe there's 1,800, they can't agree. But the point is that these are some ordinary folks whose identities are unknown, perhaps even to themselves, who quietly uphold the moral fabric of existence. The world, it is said, continues to survive only because of the presence of such folks in our midst. They live humbly and unnoticed, yet their righteousness serves as the very foundation upon which the rest of us stand. Rosh Hashanah is a time that we remember our interconnectedness. And just as these Lamed Vavniks of the legend sustain the world with quiet goodness, each of us has the power to tip the scales of justice through acts of compassion and kindness. And even though we may not think of ourselves as saints or tzaddikim, righteous ones, our small acts of care, empathy, and justice ripple through the fabric of existence in ways we may never fully comprehend. So do you think you might be a Lamed Vavnik? If you think so, probably not. So, tradition would say that anyway. It would say, if you think you are, you aren't. But I think that in today's big and troubled world, we all need some Lamed Vavnik energy, some Lamed Vavnik moments. Okay, and I don't know if I said, oh, why is it Lamed Vav? Because Lamed, you know Hebrew numerology. Every Hebrew letter has a numerical equivalent. So Lamed is 30, Vav is 6. Lamed Vav 36. And what's half of 36? 18, Chai, so we all know that's a favorite Jewish number. Chai, so it's like double life. We need to put double the energy into our good deeds. And living with that Lamed Vavnik energy means living with compassion and seeing the divine spark in every person whom we encounter. It means recognizing that every person was created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God, regardless of background, beliefs, or social status. Dr. Naomi Remen, in her book, My Grandfather's Blessing, tells about her rabbi, mystical grandpa, who told her as a child, anyone you meet might be one of the 36 for whom God preserves the world. It is important to treat everyone as if this might be so. And he further taught her that the Lamed Vavniks respond to all suffering with compassion. Without compassion, the world cannot continue. Our compassion blesses and sustains the world. But sometimes we have a bit of a deficit of compassion in the world, and we need to add some more out there. A contemporary psychotherapist wrote how he was given the impossible task of treating criminals in a dismal and hopeless jail setting, and the only way he could cope was by following the model of the Lamed Vavniks in the Torah, who, it is said, greet the face of the Shekhinah, the face of the divine presence in every person. And he learned that according to this Talmudic tradition, the Shekhinah, who is considered the feminine, compassionate aspect of the divine, embraces repentant sinners, comforts those in pain, and lifts up the lowly. So this therapist entered the jail not with the goal of employing the most brilliant therapeutic tactics, but with the intention of being truly present in the most painful situations, of seeing his clients as tragically damaged human beings who were nonetheless formed in God's image. And then his work went from being a seemingly impossible challenge to being one of the most profound learning experiences of his life. And who knows how many people in the world were ultimately affected because one man practiced compassion. This story happens over and over when people make that choice to treat others as the image of God. It also reminds me of a Talmudic story in which Elijah the prophet, we learned about him back at Passover. Elijah is an immortal figure who comes back in all kinds of disguises. So a Talmudic rabbi met Elijah and asked how do I find the Mashiach, the Messiah, the anointed one, the one that's going to bring the era of peace and love and harmony on earth? And Elijah told him, no problem, go to the city gates, and there's a lot of lepers there. And the Mashiach is there disguised right now as a beggar. And you'll recognize he's different than the other beggars. Why? Because they unwrap all of their bandages to tend to their leprous wounds all at once. And the one who is really the Messiah only unwraps one bandage at a time, so he's ready to be called into service at any moment. So the rabbi goes and finds Mashiach, but he's disappointed because the Mashiach tells him he's going to come today. But another day goes by, the world remains the same, and Elijah explains it this way: he will come today, any day, if we are ready. So perhaps if we believe that any beggar may be the Messiah, or Elijah the prophet, or any person could be a Lamed Vavnik, we could be bringing that Messianic era just one day closer. And then here's another story. It's not in a shtetl, and it's not in ancient Jerusalem, but it's at a modern, small synagogue somewhere in America. The synagogue had once been vital and full of life, but it was now struggling. There was a lot of infighting, and people were leaving, and the leadership was kind of burned out, and they turned to all the experts and took all the seminars, but nothing helped. Well, one day, the rabbi invited in a special mystical teacher for Shabbat. It was really a beautiful spiritual gathering, and people were feeling a little opened up and hopeful. At Havdalah time, one of the congregants was sitting around with a visitor. Some of the congregants were sitting around, and someone asked her, well, we've tried everything. What can we do to revitalize our community? The teacher said, I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you one thing. Last night, I had a strong and vivid dream that in this very congregation, one of you is a Lamed Vavnik. I'm sure it is so. Well, pretty soon the word got out. Someone in our midst is a Lamed Vavnik. Whom could it be? Who do you think it would be in our synagogue? Don't say it out loud, but just think about it. Everyone began to get curious, and they stopped arguing long enough, and they stopped gossiping enough to speculate about this Lamed Vavnik's identity. Maybe it's that member who always shows up with a hot meal when someone's ill, or maybe it's that person who never fails to call and visit people who've had a loss, not just for the first week, but for months to come. And maybe it's that couple who've dedicated their lives to social justice. The school director was sure it was one of the children and urged the teachers to consider that any of those children might grow up to do world-changing things. And some people even thought, what if I am the Lamed Vavnik? I think I've been shirking my job. When a situation came up that required peacemaking or generosity, they began to rise to the occasion. And you can guess that the synagogue began to change and thrive again because all the people saw one another differently. Of course, it mattered not if anyone in the synagogue was really a Lamed Vavnik, but when each was treated as such by the others, the community flourished. Imagine what would happen if we all saw everyone like that. Rabbi Raymond Zwerin teaches, and what might happen if we treated ourselves as if we were one of the 36? So long as we aren't sure we are, we're still in the running. If we were one of the 36, well, the world rests partly on our shoulders. We can't afford to fall down on the job when the world may depend upon us. As Maimonides taught, every deed may be the one that has the power to tip the scale of all the world's merits to the right direction. Our every little act of tolerance, generosity, kindness, or patience could have the power to change the world for the better. Come to think of it, it already does. Shana Tova U'Metuka, may we all be inscribed, may we all write a beautiful story in the great book of life for the coming year, and may we all be sealed in with compassion, healing, and peace. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, thank you. And I, once again, inviting you to turn to someone near you and just share with them what is your hope, your greatest hope for the world in 5785. Small, big, whatever it is. praying for and hoping for 5785. Anybody? Peace, of course. Shalom, shalom. Prosperity. Through all the what? Noise. The veil will come down so we can see each other one at a time, not through all the noise, not through all the stereotypes that we place over others, but we truly see one another and hear one another. Empathy? So may we each find our own way to do our part to make our dream come true in the coming year. So now we'll turn to the Aleinu prayer, and having, we hope, been inspired this evening. And also, by the way, feel free to take one of these bracelets. That's our high holiday holy swag for the year. And it says Lamed Vavnik in training with 2 highs, double high. So you can wear it and remind yourself of what your role is. In the Aleinu, we thank God for our unique destiny. And we're called on L'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai to repair this world as a godly kingdom. Keep your dream alive. Keep that image in your thoughts as we turn to Aleinu, page 61. Please rise as able.
Aleinu l'shapeach la'adon hakol, latet keduvah li'yosef reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם כפיהם וגורלנו ככל העונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may remain standing if you wish to stand for the Kaddish, which is on page 62, same continuation on page 62. On this day of remembrance, Yom HaZikaron, please, I invite you to bring your departed loved ones into your hearts, to feel their memory, their souls close to you, to bring up a memory, and to invite them to be here with you, to feel their presence embracing you. We'll take a moment to do that. And rather than reading a list of names at this time of year, we invite everyone who's remembering someone to be present, to rise for the Kaddish, page 62 to 63. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekucha b'richu. La'ela la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nehemata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya b'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in high places make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all the world, and we say, amen. Please be seated. So we ask back our board member on duty, Howie, for our announcements. And Avram, do you want to join me up here? Okay.
Bashar Kolal to everyone. On behalf of the Seaside Board of Directors, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy and healthy new year. I'd like to thank Rabbi Julie, Cantor Gray, Alicia for this moving service tonight. Tomorrow, we will start our services here at 10 a.m. at Epworth. Rosh Hashanah, second day on Friday, we'll be back at Seaside with services starting at 11 a.m. Next week, Yom Kippur services will begin with Kol Nidre on Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Anyone who would like to attend the Break the Fast on October 4th, Break the Fast, you need to sign up by Friday, October 4th. We have Pizza in the Hut coming up on Sunday, October 20th at 11:30 at Seaside. You can register on our website. And I also like to mention that in the lobby, probably starting tomorrow, Noah Solovi, one of our upcoming B'nai Mikvahs, is doing a project to collect pledges and funds to assist children who cannot afford to attend Camp Aries and Camp Louise. So he's doing a fundraiser for that, and he'll have a table in the lobby tomorrow for that. And
So before we do our concluding blessing, we have another special Sephardic custom. I like to bring in the Sephardic customs from Morocco and something different to show all the different ways that Jews celebrate these holidays. And this is a custom called Peticha Shel Parnasa. It's okay about you. Which is, we open the ark and we invite in the Shefa, all of the abundance of God's love and light to give us abundant parnasa, a good living in the coming year. I don't know, sorry about my scarf, it's just got a life of its own. So Psalm 24, you're not going to find it in your book, but I'm going to do it in English while Avraham chants it in the Moroccan style in Hebrew before the open ark, and I invite those who wish to rise for this Psalm 24, Peticha Shel Parnasa. All you have to do is listen and open yourself up to that divine flow of prosperity in the coming year. You want to be there?
The
The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and all that dwell therein. For God has founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend the mountain of Adonai? Who shall stand in God's holy place? One with clean hands and a pure heart, who's not taken my name in vain and has not sworn deceitfully. They shall receive blessing from Adonai and tzedakah from the God of their salvation. Such is the generation of those who turn to God like Jacob, seeking your presence. Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Be lifted up, you everlasting doors, so the sovereign of glory may come in. Who is the sovereign of glory? Adonai, mighty and valiant. Adonai, strong in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Be lifted up, you everlasting doors, so the sovereign of glory may come in. Who is the sovereign of glory? Adonai of hosts. God is the sovereign of glory. Selah. Amen. And now if you'd like to remain standing, we have a closing blessing for you. And you could look at someone near you too and share this blessing with them. May Adonai bless you and keep you. May Adonai enlighten you and be gracious to you. Adonai grant you a sense of favor and the greatest blessing of all to all of us. Shalom, peace. Shalom. May we start off the new year of 5785 full of gratitude for life and ready to share our gifts and blessings with others. May we all be written and sealed in the book of life for a good and sweet year. Amen.
Amen.
I'll be out there greeting you, people in the lobby, if you'd like to say hello, and we'll see you in the morning. Shana Tova.